Hey everyone, welcome back to part 7 of the Covalence walkthrough for building a Reddit client using Next.js and Tailwind. This part is deploying the app live. All right, so we're finally going to be able to have it accessible via URL on the web. We're going to use a platform called Vercel, who's the company that made Next.js. Plays super well with Next apps, and honestly is just a great experience overall. Really hope that you enjoy this. If you haven't subscribed yet, make sure that you click the subscribe button below, and definitely let's get started. All right, let's go ahead and open up our terminal real quick. We're going to want to make sure that everything's up to date. We're on origin main. Everything's been merged if you have multiple branches, but basically when we deploy, it's going to deploy from the origin main branch, or at least that's how we're going to set it up to deploy from main. And so we want to make sure that everything's checked in. Let's go ahead and run our linting function. All right, so it looks like we have some warnings here. No errors, which is good. Let's see, assign arrow function to a variable for exporting. All right, that's super simple. We'll do that. Do not use the image tag, use the next image. All right, so this next image is a component made by Next. We can just import it from next image. I highly recommend looking into this. It's a very cool component. We're not gonna worry about it right now, but it makes things like doing background image cover or like background size cover on background images or contain super cool, super easy. There's a lot of really cool features, and it also allows you to fire callbacks, things like that when the image loads. So highly recommend using this. Next wants you to use it. I recommend you use it, but there are certain use cases where an image tag is just simpler, and in our case I think it is just easier to use an image tag. So if you wanted to, you could actually remove this linting rule. I'm not going to worry about it. But we will go ahead and take care of this error real quick. So we want to open up our reddit.ts file. It just doesn't like that we're actually exporting this default async function here. And so let's go ahead and just create a variable for it. Let's call it handler. And we are going to export default handler, save it, and then we're going to rerun our linting. And yep, all right, so we do have that error or that warning has been taken care of, and now we only have the image warnings, which we are not going to worry about right now. Let's go ahead and also format this before. So let's open up our package.json. This is our format function, and one thing we never did was we added this types folder with this models.d.ts file, but we never added it to this. So let's go ahead. I want to actually format this file as well. So we're going to say npm run format. All right, so it went ahead and it actually did make some changes in here. If we run get status, we can see that our package.json obviously changed along with that reddit.ts file and the models.d.ts files. So let's go ahead and check those in. Let's just call it formatting, and we're going to push those. All right, so now we should be completely good. Get status, we are clean. And we want to go ahead and go to vercel.com. So let's go ahead, vercel.com. Vercel is actually the same company that made Next.js. Highly recommend using Vercel. There's definitely other options out there, but you can get a free account. We can log in with any of these options. I'm going to go ahead and use GitHub here. It's authenticating, so it'll create an account for you. It's a hobby account, totally free. You can create, deploy sites here, and it's just so easy the way they've made it and done it. And honestly, it's super built. It's built super well to work with Next.js. And we can go ahead and create a new project. We're going to import our Git repository. We have the Covalence.io team in here. We have the Reddit app configured. Now, if this isn't there, you may need to actually add your team, or if it's just your personal repo, it should pop up if you logged in using GitHub. And then if this app is in here, you can adjust GitHub app permissions. You actually tell it to actually allow access to all your repos, or you can choose only selected repos. This Reddit one is good to go. So let's go ahead and import this. Now, because I'm a personal account and I'm actually importing from a GitHub team plan or a GitHub organization, it actually wants me to create a team. So disregard this. The slug, or the team itself isn't a big deal. So you won't have to do that if you're using a personal repo, but if you are in a team repo, you're going to have to create a team to do it. Project name, Next.js framework, root directory is just root. And in here, we can actually do different build commands, but since we use Next.js, this is actually already all built in and default. And so yes, all of this is correct, but we could change that. And we can actually add environment variables. So if we wanted to, add Mailgun or add Stripe or anything like that, right? We can go ahead and add these environment variables and it'd be added to our process.env object, right? All right, so everything looks good. We're gonna go ahead and just click deploy. It's gonna kick this off. It's actually, we can take a look in here. We can see everything that it's doing. So it's installing the build runtime. We're building, or it doesn't actually have a cache yet, but it will actually create a cache for you to make successive builds faster. They really did a great job setting all of this up and making it super user-friendly. So let's see, it generated a package lock, added some packages, and now it's doing its next validity checking. It doesn't like that there's images there, but they're just warnings, so it's not going to actually throw an error. And then it creates your optimized production build as well. So it creates only the files that you need. The actual JavaScript and CSS is broken out into the smallest possible files, and bam, it's done. So it was super quick, super easy, and we can go to our dashboard and we can actually see it has a little snapshot and everything. So it creates a domain for you. We go ahead and click on that and we can see that we have our working version of the app built and good to go. It's live. You can hand this out to other people. They could access it at this URL. And again, anytime you push to main now, it's going to rebuild this real time, right? And it's going to come up in your deployments here. So we only have one right now, but if you were to push a change, it would rebuild it real time, and then those changes would be back, and it does it super fast, less than 30 seconds most of the time. You can go in here and you can actually add environment variables after the fact, and you can actually add them only for specific environments, right? So they have 3 different environments, and you can select a custom branch for each of those. Very cool how it works, and honestly, it's one of the easiest and best deployment or hosting platforms I've used in a long time. So you can add a domain. Your custom domain would go here. It's super easy how that works as well. They make it as easy as possible. And there's also analytics involved. You'd have to actually purchase this, but it's really cool if it's for your personal site. Maybe you're doing this for a portfolio site. Analytics are super important. You want to see how many people are accessing your site, what pages they're accessing it on. If you have click bounces or the bounce rate and all of that. So they definitely do a very good job in terms of the analytics experience as well. So again, this is how easy it is. I knew this video was going to be quick, but again, if you guys have any questions or concerns regarding this, go ahead and put it in the comments, and we will be happy to make more videos and more content on actually deploying to different platforms or doing different things as far as that goes. So all right, see you next time. All right, so as you guys can see, Vercel makes it super simple to accomplish taking this site live, giving you a URL that you can now pass out to friends. You can add domains, your own custom domains to it. It really is seamless and a simple experience. You guys may have a few more or a few less clicks in there or steps depending on whether or not you're already signed into GitHub. You probably won't have to create a team if you're just deploying from a personal repo. And so for the most part, if you guys have any questions or you run into anything else, don't hesitate to put them in the comments, and we can either make future videos about it or we can just answer them right then and there. There's other platforms as well. There's Netlify, there's obviously Azure, AWS, GCP, those big guys. But in terms of just deploying a simple site or a simple app like this, especially if it's something like Next or something similar, I highly recommend looking into Vercel, Netlify, or Heroku. Those seem to be the simplest, quickest, and easiest. And again, please, if you have not subscribed, please subscribe below. And if there's any additional content or anything else that you want us to do to this Reddit app in particular, don't hesitate to ask. All right, everyone, until next time.